Well, howdy, folks, and welcome to this week's Gr3 race. It's season 7, round 6. It is winner's choice today. Last season's winner gets to pick the track, and he chose Sainte-Croix Layout B. Here are this season's standings as of, this is round 7. Here we go. Give it a try. Season 8, round 7. I'm a minute off here. So this is this week's leaderboard. And as you can see, Dan East is fairly comfortably in the lead with a 121-point lead over Sergio Carnielli, Thomas Judicial, who has been racing very well, but it seems like nobody can really outpace Dan this year. Followed closely by Kobayashi Maru, our own Justin J. And then Timeless King Racer, Aaron Santos, and Mark Burnip rounds out the top 5 with 180 points. And you can see the rest if you're watching. And if you're not, I'll just go through the names. It's Adam Vine, Rob Splatter, Keith Madge, Andrew Hardy, and Will Hamilton in the top 10. Running that out. Johnny Mackers, Jonathan Palmer, Kobe Avons, Ivan Nolan, Pascal Kuman, and Jake Witchell, who is not, logged a race this season. So there are your current standings. So qualifying was supposed to begin at 8:15. I think we might have had a few issues before qualifying and are just getting underway. And I am late as well to the broadcasts because I had some internet issues that had to be resolved by lots of plugging and unplugging. But we're good now. Everything seems to be going just fine. So here are the Season 8 Group 3 race regs. Car start with 75 liters of fuel. Standing start, fastest first. The balance of performance is on, but the drivers get to pick their cars. And they choose 2 cars every season, 1 for each half, and you have to stick with the car that you chose. And you do have to change the car mid-season. All tire compounds must be used. And you can, the pit box is closed until the end of lap 5. So no jumping in after you've gone 1 lap on hard tires. You've got to drive a good distance on each compounded tire. Try to keep it fair and to keep the drivers honest in terms of their racecraft. And the opposite counts at the end of the race. If there are fewer than 5 laps left, then you will incur a penalty if you go into the pit and change your tires. So like I said, at least 5 laps on each compound. The race duration is 100 miles. So it's going to last, I want to say, roughly about 45 minutes, more or less. This season's calendar, as you can see, previous champion's choice today. We aren't going to know what it is until we get here, and well, here we are, and now we know what it is. Next week we'll be at the Nürburgring Grand Prix track, rounding out the season, the full course at Fuji, full course at Autopolis, Barcelona, going to run the Spanish Grand Prix in Group 3 equipment, and then the full course at Spa. So y'all join us each week, and we're going to offer you some good racing. So I see Willie Ham has put down the fastest time so far. He's going through some rubber. We've been looking at Dan East's car for the whole time. Let's take a look at Adam Vine and see what he's driving today. And Adam is in his Sonic the Hedgehog livery. His little Porsche. And Will's driving his sky livery. His rainbow colors. And Rob is driving a taxi today. It's not an Uber, it's a legit taxi. It's going to have a meter and everything. And Mark is in his Mustang with a Titleist golf livery. Mark likes those golf liveries. Small wonder why. And of course, here's, whoa, he just almost had a little bit of an incident there. Like Splatter got mixed up with Marky there a little bit. Yeah, it looks like we put down some times. So Willie has just lost his best time to Dan. Dan's got a 210.3. That is a formidable mark. And Willie is better than a second behind that with his best time. So someone is really going to have to throw down if they're going to get close to Dan. It's Spoon, representing Bruges, Belgium. He has a 211.6 so far. He did drop a 209. I don't know where that came from. It's like he dropped a 210.3. No, that's Dan. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Let's go back to Spoon. Here we are. I was hitting my button all willy-nilly. 211.6. Adam's got a 211.9, not far behind. Like very close to Splatter, who's at 210 or 212.10. And just 6100s separate him and Adam, and just 6800s separate Splatter and Mark. So everybody's putting down respectable times in this long circuit. Let's get back into Dan's car here. He's got a ways till he gets to the start-finish line. Excuse me momentarily while I make some adjustments. Okay, sorry about the break there. I think I've got things squared away now. So anyway, layout B at Circuit de Sainte-Croix, an entirely fictitious circuit, once again, is 4.5 miles. It is quite long. I believe it is the longest one outside of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Maybe wrong on that. No, that would be the regular circuit. The 4.5 mile B circuit is actually the shortest one of the Sainte-Croix configurations, which at 4.5 miles is pretty darn impressive. So Sainte-Croix is a fictitious track, but it does go around a real lake. All right, let's see where Danny is. Dan is just coming around the last corner here. Oh, no, he's not. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong car again. Let's see, who do we have behind him? Here we go. All right, let's take a look at Adam. Let's watch his lap inside the cockpit. Spoon stays wisely out of his way. First turn's a 90 degree. In turn 2, you want to get pretty wide to the outside. And if you get wide enough, you can go full throttle down here, but you have an immediate braking zone. Better to get this tighter than Adam did it, but Adam still got through cleanly. So Adam is wisely taking the wide line here. And if you get it wide enough and you clip the apex just right, you don't have to pull off till the last second. Then you get into another 90 degree turn and onto this long bridge. This is a great place to go flat out. Let's see, who's right behind you, Adam? Looks like Spoon is right behind you. This is a tricky corner. It starts out looking like it's a pretty wide radius, but then it tightens up in a hurry. So if you're carrying too much speed, you're going to go right into those pads on the barrier. This, if taken correctly, starting out wide, and you clip it just right, you don't have to lift. And Adam did not. He did it just right. Now this is a tighter than 90-degree turn. Oh, it's a little bit less of a hard turn. It's a little bit more sweeping. And he gets through this sequence of S's very nicely. Not a whole lot of lifting. Make that a little bit wide there at the end. And goes way to the outside. Taps brakes a little bit more than maybe he wanted to, but he's trying to stay off the wall here. That's a hard wall. If you crash against that, it's going to slow you down. So there's a lap with Adam. Adam has just gone up a place. Let's go back to Dan. Dan's on the bridge now. And Dan's 2:10.3 is still holding up pretty well. But Willie is 26 thousandths behind him. So Willie is making a play for pole position here. His tires are going off just a little bit. It would be a surprise if he could pull off a fast lap without pitting, at least as fast as he put down the last time. Dan's tires are in a lot better condition. The lefts are wearing off faster than the rights. And Dan is in the Group 3 Supra today. Adam in the Porsche. Spoon and Mark are both going for yank tanks. Splatter's up in the BMW taxi cab. And Splatter's 2:12 is still his best time. He's going to need to go in for tires if he wants to get a faster lap, and I don't know that there's going to be enough time. Oh, Dan East just drops a 2:09. Holy cow, yeah, put him a half second up and better. And that was with slightly used racing socks. So, had those tires up to the perfect temperature, apparently. And Willie gets off a little bit before the bridge. There's enough time, you don't want to change the tires. Yeah, it looks like we're just about ready to run out of this round here. We have a 15-minute time limit, and we are just about to reach that. So there'll be no new tires for Willie. Adam's about to cross the line. Let's see how he does here. No, that's not going to be as fast as lap. How about Spoon? Yeah, still rocking a 2:12. I think he's actually done better than that previously. He must have gone in for tires. And we got Splatter, who is just about out of everything. Still trying to put down a rocking time. He had a penalty on his 2:12.0 lap, so that's not going to count. And Mark's sitting in the pits. And Mark is hosting the race, so he may be getting ready to do that. So thank you, Mark, for doing that. Okay. Oh yeah, that was Splatter's pit lap. That was the pity. What the heck? Adam's back in the pits. I think he's pretty happy with that. Danny's just set a new record, 2:10.2. Sorry, 2:09.2, and Willie's still at 2:10.072. So Adams, and qualifying is over. Everybody back in the pits for new shoes and some gas. And here you have it. Unfortunately, we only have 6 drivers today. We were expecting a 7 and even 8. I think we had somebody with an issue and couldn't make it. But 6 cars, all the drivers are fast. Everybody's competitive, so this ought to be a pretty rocking race. So we'll be watching out for the folks in the middle of the pack as well, because there's always a race within a race. And Mark's going to give us 3 minutes, so that will give me a long time to sit here. Somebody needs a long wee break. And while we're waiting, I'm going to see if I can bring up last week's results. Pretty sure I downloaded those suckers. Let's take a look here. There we go. Let me get these things fit in here so you can see them. So last week we saw Dan East take the Grand Prize. No surprise there. Dan has been the class of the field all season. Willie came in 15.5 seconds behind in second place. Timeless Judicial, Aaron Santos came in third. So all of our top 3 are racing today. As a matter of fact, all of our top 4 are racing today. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see Timeless Judicial in here. I thought he was here. He is not. Yes, good luck at everyone. Wishing a big good luck at all of you. Yeah, thanks, Dan. Yeah, it looks like Aaron left the room for some reason. I'm afraid he might be having some problems with his connection. Yeah, the final's up. It doesn't look like he's going to get here in time. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping that Aaron could join the race. And everybody's lined up. Lights are on. Everyone's off in launch mode. Feet hard on the brakes, and here we go. Wow, okay. It looks like the little yellow taxi is making a play for P5. He's going to take the outside. And going too wide. Fortunately for us, we have a lot of track here at this point in the track. As Spoon tries to make a play for the inside, thinks better of it. Now Dan has lost P1 momentarily to Willie, but he comes back, gets the inside part of the corner, takes over first, but Willie's not letting him have it easy. Willie's trying to find a place around the outside to put his car, tries the over-under, doesn't quite work out for him. Still, he's keeping on his tail. Now Willie's going to work on that slipstream advantage coming down the bridge. He thinks he's got a run on him. Not quite, and that's going to give Dan the advantage coming into the turn. Willie momentarily takes first position, but doesn't quite have enough juice to get around that corner in first. Still snow trailing. As Mark takes the inside line on Adam, trying to get something of a run, can't quite make it stick. So splendid race for third position, and Mark takes it. Gets the run on him, gets the inside part of the track. That makes Adam have to back off just a little bit so we don't have argy-bargy. So Mark gets P3. Bonnie and Splatter keeping it close. And here in the back, we got Spoon. I don't know if he had some kind of an incident. He's generally a whole lot faster than that. So something may have happened to his Mustang. He's gone off, clipped the wall just a little bit. That's going to hurt his time some. Still not too far behind. Looks like he's still got about a second and a quarter. Let's get the race info up so we can see what all's going on. So now a second separates Dan from Willie. So Dan East has found some pace. Meanwhile, Spoon just a little over a second behind and starting to make a little bit of, make up a little bit of that gap to Adam. So Adam drops to fifth. Splatter's now in fourth, Mark's in third. Willie's got P2 still, and just under a second behind, so he may get into that slipstream window there. No! Takes the grass and catches the barrier, and that will put him just a little bit too far back to catch Dan anytime soon. Well, we're on lap 2, so everybody's going to be putting down their best laps, at least for the moment. That has given Mark a great opportunity. He can stay off the wall, which he does. Mark is using every inch of the track. And so far that risky behavior seems to be paying off. He's well into Willie's slipstream. With just 2/10 separating him, and now even less. Mark's got a run on him. He's got the outside here. He's not going to be able to take it with the with the tight corner. He gets fished to a little bit of tank slapper. So that's going to drop him back a touch. Not as much as you might think it would. Mark's still holding on for dear life. And here comes Viney up on Splatter. He stays content to hold on to his tailpipe. He's going to turn, I don't know what number turn that is, but it's the last turn. If you go into T1, turn 1, Viney is just content to stay on his rear. As Splatter gets up on Mark's gearbox. Or his boot, as you folks in the UK like to call it. So Mark has dropped well back of Willie in that mishap. So the race at the moment seems to be for P3. Yep, Splatter stayed off the barrier, so did Viney. The barrier, just as you get to that bridge, can be real tricky. It's real easy to go into that too hot. Because you come into it off of a couple of easy turns, and then all of a sudden you have that 90 degree, and it's easy to carry too much speed. So Dan's got a comfy 4.5 second lead. Let's see how Willie's doing back there. Okay, he's got plenty of space between him and Splatter. Splatter, on the other hand, has no space between himself and Mark. And And Mark gets the inside line and takes P3 away from him. So that puts Splatter on his rear wing. And Vine is really making a meal of it here. Just 4/10. Okay, half a second between him and Splatter. And he is gaining rapidly as they come into the final corner and onto the pit straight. We'll see now if the slipstream train works to anybody's advantage. The Spoon is not far behind the mid-pack. He has been steadily gaining. And judging by the shenanigans, the way that car is moving around, I suspect that Spoon is on a controller. So just a second separates P3 from P5. Yeah, Vine takes the inside line, gets a lot of speed out of that corner and puts it right on that rear wing of Splatter. Now he's trying to catch a slip and get a run on him here in this train of cars. Can't quite pull it off. Now Splatter is going to try to get that inside line away from Mark. Can't quite make it stick. But then Splatter does make it stick. And into P4. And Vine just as quick gets right onto his side. It says, not so fast, Splatter. So now Vine is trying to get a run going into this decreasing radius corner. Oh man, and Vine takes P4. And now Splatter's on his tailpipes. They're having a lot of back and forth here and a whole lot of clean racing. Meanwhile, Spoon is just biding his time. I would have thought all that battling between Splatter and Vine would have given Mark a pretty terrific advantage to pull away. A pretty good opportunity to get a little bit of space. And he has. He's got some, but not as much as I would have expected. Somehow Vine and Splatter are able to maintain a pretty good clip and stay close to Mark. As you can see, Splatter and Vine are not giving each other any space to have any room for error. As Vine tries the over-under. See if he can make it stick to the outside. Can't quite pull it off there and backed off wisely. Great spot to get your car dropped to a sudden stop. And so now Splatter gets into the barrier, clips the wall with his right quarter panel. And that is definitely going to cost him. I don't know what happened to Vine just behind him. I don't have a replay button, unfortunately. This thing is glitchy with my keyboard, so I can't use it here. If anybody knows of a good keyboard to use with PlayStation 5, I am all ears, because I know we'd love to have replays. So far, I haven't found one that'll work consistently. So Adam, rather than being right on his wing, is now second behind. So apparently when Splatter had his incident, Adam must have gone into him. Well, that's unfortunate, at least for the moment, but it looks like Splatter is not out of the woods yet. because now these boys are all well within a half second of each other. Let's see if anybody can get the inside line. Splatter's going to give it a go here. He thinks he has a run. And he does. He gets P3 away from Mark. Is this temporary? Still has the inside line. They just about touch. It looks like Mark and Viney just about locked wheels. And now Mark. Oh, and Viney gets into a slide. Again, desperately wishing I had a replay button, but that puts Mark into P4 quite comfortably. And now he's making headway on Splatter, and Willie Ham just took a header. Now he's back down into P5, and Spoon gets into P4. Still maintain that 1.4 seconds. Consistency matters, folks. You can stay out of the barriers. You got a shot. So here's Mark. Now in P3, Splatter has got P2. Mark taking the wide line, just about to touch the barrier, but staying off of it far enough to maintain a high rate of speed on those knackered soft tires. And he and Splatter are probably going to be coming in the next lap or two, maybe even the next one lap. Don't know what the fuel consumption rate is here, but we're already on lap 6, and we're down to about an eighth of a tank for Splatter. And Mark goes off. Oh, son of a gun. Don't know what happened there. And Willie goes off again. Willie catches the barrier. So now we've got Dan going into the pits, and wisely so, because his left front tire is chewing gum. So that will put Splatter into P1, at least for the moment. While Dan gets new shoes and gas. And Spoon gets into second from dead last. So if we had driver of the day, I think Spoon's going to be a contender. Although it's still very early in the race. That is some impressive driving. Now Adam Vine has got the position. Mark back up to 4th. And still staying on Adam's tail. Mark and Adam are not done yet. As Dan gets back out on track on his medium tires. Willie's in the pits. So they'll be removing those soft tires. Get fueled up. Now Spoon building a solid lead over Splatter. He's now got a full second. So Splatter's out of the slipstream. No advantage there. And Spoon is really making that tank look quick around the corners. Splatter still has a little less than half the track to go, and he is quite low on fuel. Tires are looking probably okay for 1 or 2 more laps, but the fuel's not going to get in there. He will have to pit this lap. Spoon's running on the mediums. He may be able, if he can hold on, he may be able to get 1 more lap in. The Mustang is surprisingly good on fuel, so maybe what we're looking at here with Spoon is a fuel strategy. I wish I'd had a chance to interview him before the race to see what his strategy might be, as if he'll tell me. Let's see what he does. He's staying out. Splatter's going in. Wisely so. He was never going to make it to the end of that next lap. So Spoon's out for 1 more. He doesn't feel like his tires are so worn that he needs to stay off of them. He will have to be very careful, especially going around the high-speed corners, because that left front is looking pretty tired. So that puts Adam in second place. Wide gap on either end of this portion. Dan East is back up into third position. And Dan, on his medium tires, full load of fuel, should be looking at getting back into first position, barring any unforeseen circumstances. And Splatter with a 33 second gap between him and P1. Looks like he's just out of the pits and trying to hold on to his position. And Mark with 5.7 seconds. Willie with a 6.5 second gap to P5. So Spoon's got a 6 3/4 second lead. So let's get inside and take a look at how he's doing inside the cockpit. And this is where I think that left front is going to give him heartburn. As you're getting into this turn here, which has a decreasing radius, so you got to brake perfectly, take a hard turn, and as you can see, it's just worn out his left front tire completely. So he will be pitting on this lap. He is holding on for dear life. He's lost about a second to just getting through that sequence of corners, and it's very understandable why that is. And he's losing time rapidly as his tires go away. Just manages to hold on around the final turn, and here he comes. Get off those mediums. Let's see what he goes on to next. Let's get a race view. So that puts Adam into defective first place. Now Dan comes up in second. Just 4 seconds behind. Temporary, because Adam's going to have to pit a lot sooner than Dan. Both are on medium tires. These are quite a bit hotter, but also quite a bit more worn. But Dan's tires should be coming in this lap. And Dan is quick in that Toyota. And here's Spoon now, just about 23 seconds behind his nearest rival, Dan East. He's just coming out on hard tires. So they're going to be cold and they're hard tires. So don't expect a whole lot of pace right now. There's Splatter on mediums. Oh man, he's just about to make a move on Spoon. Just couldn't quite make the cut. Don't get it? Oh, just barely nicks the barriers. He hits the bridge. But still keeping a fairly narrow gap between himself and Spoon. And Splatter should be a whole lot quicker in the corners, just being on more medium tires. Spoon is just hanging on for dear life at the moment. You can see that rear end is really going out on him. He's really got to get those tires up to temperature. As you can see in the lower left-hand corner, there are no wear bars showing at all. As Dan gets off in the grass a little bit, but he took that 4-second gap down to 1.5 in pretty short order. As Adam dives into the pits. Wisely so. I think Adam wants to get on softs maybe here. I don't know if he's done his hard tire requirement. I think probably not. So he may be going on hards right now. Just get that out of the way. So here comes Spoon. Again, just you can hear the wheels just screeching on that thing. Hanging on for dear life. As Splatter hangs on to his wing. Hey Aaron, thanks for getting back into the room. I hope you're able to watch and listen. Sorry you couldn't make the race, buddy. I hope those problems are cleared up for the next race. All right, let's go into race view and see how it's going. Splatter's maintaining that narrow gap between himself and Spoon. Fight for P2 is on. As Dan now has a 26.5 second gap on his nearest rival. I think Spoon's tires finally started to come in for him a little bit, as he's made the turn into the bridge pretty nicely. He's picking up a little bit of space now on Splatter. Yeah, and Spoon's looking a lot less squirrely. Oh, here he comes, making a play for the inside. And Splatter found some speed in that sequence of corners. And it's right on his pipes. Trying to get a run on him. As they go through that fast sweeper, we'll see who's got the guts and breaks late. So Spoon takes the outside line. Can't quite make it. Splatter gets him on the inside. And off he goes. So great move. Good clean racing, but hard racing. Which is what you like to see here. And Spoon just trying to keep it on track there. It gets a little bit of grass under his wheels. And, oh, just about catches the barrier. Gets really loose. Still trying to get a run on him in turn one. Can't get the inside line. Sorry about the mush mouth today. I've got reasons. It's making a move on Adam Vine. And Willie Ham is back in the picture now. He is under a second behind. So we come onto the bridge. Fortunately, nobody has nicked that corner. Everybody gets through cleanly. And now we have a slipstream train happening. Hit the 90-degree turn. Nobody's got a run on anybody. So the train continues. Mark tries to take a little bit of that barrier. Just misses it. Mark has taken a very brave line through that sequence. He's been doing it all race long. And often it has paid off. And here's one case where it did. He gets the inside on Adam. And he's got just enough space to take the inside line. And gets the inside of both corners. But Adam gets a run on him. Oh, going too wide into this very difficult turn. Adam can't quite make the cut on that one. Here we come into the final corner. As Willie now gets the inside. Tries to get a run through the corner on Vine. He can't quite make it happen. But boy, that battle for fourth position is hot. Meanwhile, back to the fight to P2. And Splatter is getting nicely positioned for a run on Spoon. It's like Spoon took that spot away from him back a ways. The Splatter's trying to get it back once again as we go into the bridge. Let's see if we all make it through. Yep. Splatter's a little bit closer. Mark doesn't hit it. None of them hit it. Everybody's through clean, as obviously is Dan. I think Dan could just take a Sunday stroll at this point. Probably maintain his position for 3 or 4 more laps. So now Spoon has picked up a whole lot of space. What happened to Willie? Or Splatter? No, Splatter. Splatter has taken it on the chin. Looks like the left front has gone into the barrier, and he went from P3 to well to the back, 44.8 seconds. 45 seconds now to the rear. So that has really slowed him down. The cars are self-healing in this series of races, so he only had a little bit of problem steering the car for about a minute. But that minute was enough to put him way back on his heels. So for the moment, Spoon is comfortably in the second position, but takes it too wide on the last turn, picks up the grass and maybe a little bit of barrier. And that gap is getting narrower. As Adam fends off Willie into turn 1 and makes gains on Spoon. So if Adam can ignore this battle, which is going to be a tall order, and just keep his speed up, he might be able to pick up a little bit. But Willie and Mark are not letting him go. They're not making it easy. Especially Mark. Uh-oh. Oh, did he make it through? He did. Okay, it looked like he was awfully close. And Splatter goes into the bridge. Everybody gets through clean. So Spoon's lead, which was once formidable, about 2.8 seconds, is now down to 1.5. Adam and Willie are now side by side. Willie gets a run on him. And that run is not gone yet. And he will take the inside of this fast sweeper, which gets him into position to take P3 away from Vine. Takes a wide cut at it. It just closes it off enough that Adam can't get through. And Spoon goes into the barrier. Just scrapes the barrier. That is really going to hurt. It may be time to get off these hard tires. They're not working real well for that Mustang, unfortunately. Not well known as a handling car. Now Willie is gunning for P2. And Adam is gunning for him. And something has happened to Mark. Yeah, Mark has dropped way back. Looks like Dan has about a quarter of the track to himself. Unlike Spoon and Willie. And Adam. Just a second or so separate the three of them. As Willie works to get a run on Spoon on the bridge straight. Gets the inside track. And he's going to get it. Makes it stick. Closes off the hole. Stays on the racing line. Good fair racing. As they come into this weird and difficult corner. Everybody stays off the wall. And Vine gets the inside on Spoon into the fast sweeper. And Vine takes P3. Spoon's getting a little wide here. Really seems to be struggling to hold on to it. Let's see what he looks like from the inside here. His tires are in great shape, but it's just really hard to hold on. Just clips the grass. It was on a little John Deere excursion. And he's clean through the last turn, but he is losing a lot of time. He's losing it rapidly. I don't know if he's considering a tire change, but he may be. Adam's on the hard tires as well, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him as much in Porsche. So here's Willie in P2. Willie has had to make up a lot of positions. So, again, if there were a driver of the day, Willie is well in contention. But Adam says, no, I don't think so. So I think I'm going to make a play for that non-existent trophy. As he picks up about 1/10 of a second into the slip. Into this odd series of turns. Not quite able to hang on. At the corners, but man, he gets a great exit and gets a fantastic run and steals P2. But Willie's going to try the over-under, so not so fast. See if I can get you on the inside line here. Oh, he doesn't quite get the nose in there far enough. And it's going to have to be another time for the Ferrari. Here comes Spoon in the Stang on those hard tires. Still a little wobbly, a little squealy. Having a heck of a time keeping that thing steady. Oh, and Vine has picked up a second penalty. He must have cut a corner. So Willie's going to drop into the pits. That second's going to cost. And we go back to Dan. Leads up to 43 seconds now. And Adam is going to have to serve that second penalty pretty soon. So Spoon's just going to wait. Yeah, I think Spoon's just going to wait on him until he gets to the penalty zone and then just sneak past him. You will need to stay close. You don't want to get too far back, because that car's going to respawn. Cause all kinds of a headache. This wide line. Well, Spoon had better step on it, because he has lost about a half second to Adam. It is not going to be all that easy. So here we go, getting ready to hit the sin bin. And Adam now has a 1.4 second gap to Spoon. I don't know what's slowing him down. But going into this corner, it just did not give Spoon enough space. And so he is not going to pick that position up. And once they get into this first turn, everybody's on equal footing. And that's it. Adam slips away. No harm, no foul. It's as if the penalty never happened. Meanwhile, Spoon has 8 seconds on Rob. And Rob has an 8-second gap from Bonnet and Boot to his nearest rivals. Markey is laying down in 5th with a 4.5-second gap to Willie, who has been seeing quite a lot of trouble apparently in that Ferrari. .458's a fast car if you know how to drive it. Willie knows how. Things are just not panning out for him today, at least at the moment. But we're just 17 laps in, 7 more laps to go. Almost anything can happen. And so Dan has pitted for hard tires. He's going to get it out of the way a little bit early. You can do it all the way up to 5 laps ahead of the race end. So Dan has wisely gone in to get back on his hard tires. So no more pit stops for Dan. Unless he wants to take one at the next lap, which he could still. Don't think he'll make the pit delta at 17 seconds, but who knows what kind of a lead he might be able to get on Adam. Adam is getting quite screechy going around that corner. As Spoon's tires look like they're starting to fall off a little bit. And both of them wisely have pits. Both of them on hard tires. Both of them have plenty of rubber left, but they are not great on this track today. Best to get off of them. And Splatter goes into the pits to get off the mediums. Let's see what he's going to jump onto. Mark has hit the barrier. His right front is taking a nasty smash. But he is on up into de facto first place. And Adam gets 3 seconds for something. Oh man, we'll have to have a talk with Adam after the race and see. I'm definitely saving this replay. Here's Willie, and we have another 3 seconds for Spoon. So Spoon, instead of vying for second place at the end of this race, has now got himself a 3-second penalty, and that is going to hurt. So Splatter's on new hard tires. Dan's on warm rubber. Mark is on mediums that look like they're going to have to come off in a second. I think this is going to be his last lap before the pits. And with Adam snow trailing him like he is, a 3-second penalty isn't going to make a heck of a lot of difference, at least as far as his and Mark's race are concerned. Now, Willie will definitely have something to say about it. Spoon with a 3-second penalty, unless Willie has some kind of a mishap. It's not looking real good for Spoon at the moment. He does get position on Willie, and he takes 4th place. Let's see what happens when we get to the penalty line, which is coming up momentarily. Penalty line is right before the final turn. Splatter, 16 seconds behind his nearest rival. Now Dan has opened up a 37.5-second lead, so if he wanted to pit, he had the opportunity, but he doesn't care to. with just 5.5 laps to go. He doesn't care to go in. He's just going to stay out and be done with it. And Mark wisely goes in for rubber. And that puts Willie back into second place, which I believe is where he started out. And so Adam now finds the back of Willie's car. Adam's put down pretty good laps. I think his best ones are in the 212s. He's been nothing if not consistent. Let's see, stays off his tail. Nobody goes into that nasty barrier. And his wing says, catch me if you can, and it looks like Adam can. No, he does not this time. Willie closes it off. This is a heck of a race for second place. Now just less than a tenth separate him. Vine gets the inside. Willie struggles to hang on. Just about gets into him. And wisely, I think, just taps the brakes and keeps himself out of the sand for the moment. Gets the inside line, though. Can't make it stick. Tries to do the same thing on the next corner. Can't quite get there. And it looks like he's scrubbed off enough speed where he wasn't able to keep up. So goes from less than a tenth behind to 0.6 behind. So Spoon has served his 3-second penalty. Back into fourth position. Splatter in fifth. Mark 3.5 seconds behind him. Dan with a 40.5 second lead. So the real race here is between Willie Ham and Viney. And truth be told, with Adam on those soft tires and Willie Ham on the hard tires, hot as they may be, it's going to be a very tall order, even to hold third position. And Spoon is coming down on warm, soft tires. Gets the inside line, takes it a little bit tight. Car gets a little bit unsettled, but Willie is slow through the turn, and Spoon takes him on the bridge. But that battle has given Vine a much larger lead, as Spoon looks like he took a little bit of the barrier there. But Willie is just having a tough time on those hard tires, maintaining his pace. Still gets to that corner cleanly. Onto the fast right-hander. And now 2.2 seconds separate him and Adam Vine. With just 4 laps to go. And then Spoon on the softer tires is a different driver. He's running really clean lines. And don't let the wobbling fool you. That's just an artifact of the game when you're using a controller. It gets a little wiggly. But I think the game compensates for it pretty well. Still not able to pick up any space on Adam. Or not very much, as the case may be. So, a wide gap. P2 and P4. And Mark is having a tough time of it. Looks like he smacked his front end. So he's going to have a bit of a time handling that thing, at least for the next 30 seconds or so. Splatter all by himself in fifth. Willie all alone in fourth position now, and just trying to hang on with those hard tires. And it looks like everybody can keep it clean. This is pretty much how it's going to end up. That's as long as everybody can keep that car pointed straight. Spoon's getting a little bit wild. And he and Mark have really struggled, I think, with the Mustangs. Mark just misses the barrier. You can see his car is pretty scratched up. See on the front end, let's see if we can. Yeah, he's got a few scratches there. His PS5 is just about gone. And Dan is just running his race, keeping it clean. Put down slower laps on the hard tires, as one might expect, but still 212s. His best lap on hards is a 212.1. So nope, sorry, 211.7 is his best lap on hard tires. So well done indeed. He really knows the characteristics of that car and how it handles. Meanwhile, Adam is comfortably in second place, although Spoon is trying to make a go of it here on the penultimate lap. It's gonna be a tall order. Adam is on soft tires, and they are in much better shape than Spoon's are. Spoon is about to the end of those. Willie's still on the hard tires, but just not able to put the times together that he would like. Spoon stays off the wall, stays in the hunt for the time being. Stan comes around the penultimate corner. It looks like Spoon has lost a little bit of his edge. As here comes Dan around the final corner. And on his last lap, the white flag is out. And as Dan begins his final lap, see Vine and Spoon are coming through the sequence of S's. Let's see if Spoon can gain a little. Oh, he doesn't. He goes off and mows the grass. So, once again, just not able to hang on to that Mustang for very long. He does manage to stay off the wall in the final turn, but yeah, that's going to cost him second place unless there's an unforeseen incident with. Again, sorry for the mush mouth. So, great big gaps between all the drivers. Let's have a look at Dan's car. Let's get a cockpit view. Let's see how the Master does it. It's a nice tight line here. He's really good at anticipating that decreasing radius in that corner. Takes it real tight, keeps just enough speed to get through it quickly, then uses all the track on the way out. Just beautifully done. Got a little bit wobbly there. Still looking real good. Picked up a little bit of garbage on that corner, but keeping a nice tight line through the S's. This is a fast series of corners until you get here. And then hard braking into this 90-degree turn. Does a little bit of trail braking. Clips the edge a little bit, but it ain't going to hurt him. Gets the checkered flag. Congratulations, Dan East, on another well-deserved victory. Now let's see what's happening in the battle for second. Well, it's not much of a battle. Adam has gone from a half-second gap between himself and Spoon to a 5-second plus gap, because it looks like Spoon has run into some difficulty with those tires. So Adam takes P2 very comfortably. Congratulations on the podium finish, Adam. And Spoon comes in at P3. Well done, gentlemen, especially on those dead tires, Spoon. Here comes Willie Ham in 4th position. Congratulations. And Splatter comes in 5th. Wasn't quite his day, although he drove well. He just had a few mishaps and a few corners weren't going to let him finish higher up. As he takes it nice and easy around the final turn and picks up P5, followed closely by Mark in P6. And give us a little bit of a show, Marky. Well done. And Dan East gets the trifecta, a win, a pole position, and a clean race. Excellent job. So here you have it, y'all. Dan East with the win. Adam Vine comes in P2 and gets fastest lap. So well done, Adam. Nice job. Spoon comes in a relatively close second, followed by Willie, Splatter, and Mark. Each one of these gentlemen put down very solid best laps. In fact, I believe Mark's and Splatter's laps were better than their qualifying laps, if I'm remembering that correctly. So, well done, gentlemen. Mark, thanks very much for hosting the race. And for anybody who's been watching and listening, thanks very much once again for joining us for Multi-21 Group 3. We'll see you all on Sunday for Same Car Sunday.